Today I want to talk to you about signs that you could tell that you're not a couple anymore, you're only roommates. Now, before we get started, I want everybody to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. And I'd like to say thank you for all of the support, all of my listeners, and everybody who have been sending in comments and telling me different things about what you would like to talk about and what's going on in your life, so we can kind of help everybody else out that may be going through these type of problems. So today I want to talk to you about one of my listeners who called in talking about their relationship seemed to have changed. He's saying that it seems like we are no longer in a serious relationship, but we are only in it for convenience. So these are the signs that you are not in a relationship anymore. You have transitioned to being only roommates. And now this is something a lot of people don't want to talk about. It happens in a lot of relationships. You'll see the relationship start off one way and end up another way. And it seems like they're together, but no one seems to be happy. So we're going to talk about the signs that you could tell if your relationship have changed and now you're only roommates. And things are very obvious, but we don't like to talk about. So these are some of the things that's too true to talk about, but need to be talked about if you want to fix your relationship. The number one thing to know if your relationship have changed is if you have lost intimacy in the relationship. Now, both people will know that. You know if y'all are not intimate anymore. You both know if you don't look at each other the same way. You can count the nights where y'all have had physical contact. Now, if it has gotten to the point where you can't even remember the last time, then you know you're in trouble. These are the things that's in relationships that go untalked about. And affection is the number one, the lack thereof of affection is the number one killer of a relationship, whether it will be spoken or not. So you know if there's no intimacy there, the relationship is doomed. You both know it. You can sit around and talk about whatever conversation that's the hottest topic of today. But if there's no intimacy going on, you basically both are talking to each other like y'all are friends. The number two thing is communication. That goes along with the number one thing, intimacy. If you don't talk about sex, then you know you have a problem. If you talk about everything else but that, you know there's a problem. You want to talk about the kids? You want to talk about what's going on in your life, what you did, what you had for dinner, or what we're going to do this evening? If we're not talking about sex or any intimacy, we avoid that like that is an off-limit subject, then that lets you know you have a problem. No matter whether you say anything about it or not. That is the elephant in the room. So once you lose those two things, you're in a big, big problem. The third thing, if y'all are leading separate lives, basically, y'all don't go anywhere together. You go on vacations by yourself, she go on vacations by herself. She go out with her friends, you go out with your friends. Right there, you know, there's a big separation there, because if y'all are in a relationship, then y'all are supposed to be each other's best friends and do most everything together. So you can tell that, and it ain't no need in trying to hide it. If you know y'all don't go anywhere together, y'all barely talk, and definitely y'all are not intimate, then you know there's a big problem. And there's no need in even trying to hide that problem. That is a recipe for disaster. So whether you are hiding it or being naive about it, it is a big problem. Because without those three things, someone in that relationship is going to be dishonest no matter what. The next thing is if you never look at each other. You know, when y'all talking to each other, y'all are not looking at each other. One of y'all are playing on the phone. the other one looking off. There's no eye contact. That right there lets you know, what am I doing here? Why am I wasting my time? Why am I wasting my time with somebody who can't even look at me? And men like to be looked at. Women like to be looked at too. But if neither one is looking at each other and y'all are having a conversation, you can tell right there that that relationship, y'all are only roommates basically at this point. Friends or even family members, but not lovers or not intimate, not in that relationship that it started out to be. And after a while, it become awkward. You don't even want to talk about those things. You don't even want to talk about sex with that person. You don't even want to have sex with that person. You don't even want to talk about those issues because those issues have been put to rest. And now to even bring it up would sound ridiculous. It's hard to get back something that you have buried for so long. It's hard to look at a person the same way once they have changed. So if you're not looking at your person with that same admiration that you did in the beginning, the relationship is basically doomed. No public displays of affection. That's another thing. If y'all don't hold hands no more, if y'all don't touch each other or play, like you did when y'all were younger or when y'all was both in love with each other, you don't do that anymore. That's another sign. If the woman is walking ahead of you while you are out, that's another sign. So when you see these types of things happening in the relationship, these are signs that now y'all have transitioned to being only roommates. Now, one of the things that happened also during this point is that one of the people in the relationship, whether it's the woman or the man, is start to belittle the other person. That other person just can't do nothing. Can't do nothing right. Criticizing everything, every little thing. That right there lets you know that the person don't truly care about you anymore. That comes with defending your man, taking up for him, speaking up for him, not letting anybody talk about him or not making him feel embarrassed. Once that's gone, the relationship's gone. I talk to a lot of guys and they tell me about how their woman will actually go against them in public to side with somebody else in a discussion just to go against their husband or their boyfriend. And they don't understand that that is something that cuts really deep with a man. Loyalty, being by my side, being for me, taking up for me and defending me. But women don't even, a lot of women don't understand that. And when that happens, those are things that scar a man for life that he never, ever, ever forgets. Another way you can tell that this relationship has transitioned into where y'all only roommates, family members, or friends is if you ignore him. If you ignore your man or you ignore your woman all the time. When they talking to you, you talk about something else like you wasn't listening to what they were saying. And then you come back to them, oh, now what was you saying? That being ignored is something men hate. And you see that a lot. Women and men also, but women I'm talking about right now, ignore their man when he's talking and start talking about something else, totally different from what he was talking about. Women love to make statements like, I could do bad by myself. A man can easily be replaced. Playing down the significance of the things that he do for you is another thing that makes men very mad. And that will let you know your relationship has transitioned. Taking a man for granted. All the things that he did, that he do for you. Never ever is there any type of appreciation. Only entitlement. Like this is something that should be done. When the woman is not showing any affection, and that is one news flash that everybody should know. If you're not sleeping with the man, you shouldn't expect nothing. And that is basically reality of life. If you're not treating that man right, how could you expect something like that from a man? A man would die for the woman that he loved, but that woman is showing him that she loves him. She's showing him affection. See, affection is something that should never be stopped. And once that stops, that is the first thing that hardens a person's heart to where they don't look at you the same anymore. And they waiting for the next person to show them affection, and they're gone. And they gone. So when women stop showing a man affection, they should stop looking for those things that a man do for them that loves them. Because you showing him that you don't care about him, so you expect him to be a fool. And men are not being fools. So women, if you're not treating a man right like that, then don't expect him to treat you right and to do those things that a man would do for a woman he loves. Like spending his last dollar on her, making sure all of her bills are paid, making sure she don't have any worries. Men love to do that, but they do that to a woman that cares about them. And if you don't care about him, don't expect nothing like that. Don't expect the man to give you any money, to help you out, or do any of that. Once the lost intimacy, once the communication, all of that, once that stops, then that stops all the gratitude and the things that a man do for a woman. That devotion is out the window. Women love to boss a man around. They love to correct a man, and men hate being corrected. If women learn that one thing, to realize that you cannot have two chiefs in a relationship, and realize that you are not the chief in the relationship. It's not nowhere, only in the black community, where the woman wants to be the boss of the relationship and run the man. And that's just the honest truth. And that's one of the problems where these relationship changes. Because once a woman starts wearing the pants, acting like a man don't want a woman man. He want a female. He don't want no female that's acting like a woman, acting like a man. Want to be in charge, want to correct you. That changes the nature of that woman. Men like feminine women, submissive women, women who believe in their man, who know their role. So to the women who don't understand that figure they are independent, figure that they know more than the man, that they're gonna tell the man what to do, this is the result of that type of action. That you will get in a relationship that turns into you are only being roommates. And when that happens, the man has him someone else. And you can easily say, well, a woman has someone else too. Well, who wins in that? Because once a man finds that out, he's gone. So you better hope that man take care of you. And why even start that when you could have took care of that good man in the first place? So that's another thing. Men hate to be bossed around. Men hate to be embarrassed. And another thing, men hate for their women to always say something like, my last boyfriend did this, he did that. We hate to be compared to other people. And that's another thing that happens. You like to compare men to your past exes. And that is something that's totally unacceptable. Because the first thing out of that man's mouth is you should go back to him. Because if somebody gonna treat you better, then go. But if you already have that man, why start that? Why even create that situation when all you had to do was continue to do the things that you did to get the man? But what happens is that lost intimacy. And once that's lost, we try to use other things to take up for that. Like everyday events, like idle conversations about how your day been going, how the kids doing. When at the back of your mind is, I have not had sex with you in X number of days or whatever. And we're not even talking about it. That is something that we don't talk about it. And that is a big problem. So when a man looks at a woman that he's not sleeping with, who actually he's with and supposed to be his mate, he looking at her like, why am I wasting my time with you? Because there's more to life than these idle conversations about nothing. I want some affection, and I'm not getting it from you, and we're not even nowhere even closer to talking about it, but yet we continue on like couples. These are what you call relationships of convenience and marriages of convenience. But it's only convenient to the one person. Only convenient to the one person. So, you in a relationship and you have these signs, you're in big trouble. Because if you are in a relationship with a woman and y'all cannot talk about sex, y'all relationship is doomed. Because that's the number one thing men think about all day and women think about, whether you want to admit it or not. And if that elephant in the room is not being satisfied or talked about between y'all two, y'all are only roommates now. And cheating will happen. So everybody, I just wanted to talk to you about a few things that you might need to watch out for in your relationships. And if this is happening, if you can correct it, do it. But if these things are happening, it's too late, basically, because it's hard to bring back something in the past. So if you're not doing things that you have always been doing, now to try to do it all over again would be so awkward that it's too late. So remember, never lose your intimacy in your relationship, because that is the number one reason that could cause your relationship to turn into y'all are only roommates and act like y'all are relatives instead of boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife, or however you want to put it. You have to keep the intimacy. You have to keep the communication going, because once that's over with, the relationship is over with.